The Meatless Mondays trend is a global effort to avoid eating meat one day a week for personal health and the health of the planet. Can you explain the Catholic history of avoiding meat and where it stands today?
Well, for us, it's all focused on Friday. We might say meat-free Fridays, because really we look at that day, the day on which the Lord suffered and died for us, as one of particular penance in the life of the church. And so historically, and even to this day in the universal church, one refrains from eating meat on Fridays. Now, back in the early 60s, the bishops' conferences were given the opportunity to modify this, and so our bishops in the United States, with the permission of the Vatican, decided that on Friday, it would only be during the Fridays of Lent that we would have those be meat-free Fridays. But the encouragement throughout the year is to refrain from some element on Fridays, to keep them penitential days, to do some act of penance. So in different cultures at different times, refraining from meat can be an act of penance. In other places it may not be. So the bishops thought, rather than impose it universally on all of those in the United States, they thought that people might actually still freely choose on Fridays to abstain from meat. So it's an act of penance, but it's really based on the Lord's suffering for us on that day. Now, as to Meatless Mondays, I am not an expert on all the intricacies of the global meat industry and how this all relates to such matters. However, I would say that really for Catholics, we have an opportunity to focus on the Fridays. So if you have a Meatless Monday and you want to do that, that's great. But we should retain Friday as a sense of giving something up, some act of penance. The way we look at it is that every Friday of the year is a little Lent. It's just a little bit of Lent, and so we focus on that. And for some folks, giving up meat is a real act of penance on Fridays. But what was set forth in the 60s was this hope that other forms of penance would arise and that people would also use it as a day to do acts of charity. I think we've done a pretty good job of retaining this during Lent. I think throughout the rest of the year, however, a lot of us have lost the sense that Friday is really a special day. And so Lent reminds us that every Friday should be a little Lent.